Today's message started as a whisper of a word, and that word was trust. And so I breathed with the word, and it came to me that trust is required in order to be able to rely on hope, particularly when we are in the deepest of grief or sorrow or suffering of any kind. We have to trust that we are being held so that we can have hope that things will lead to peace, even if we are not in a state of peace in the moment. And so then that led me to ask the energy that sent this message, what does this mean? Why is this required at all? And the answer was that when we are in a state of suffering and sorrow, it forces us into the present. It asks us to be in our body, and it asks us to take heed of any choices that we've made. It asks us to not know. It asks us to live in a state of confusion. And so when we're grieving and when we're suffering, we're so fully present with the suffering that we're able to see around us in a way that we cannot when we're in a state of complacency. And complacency simply means going from day to day and expecting that everything will remain the same, expecting that what we want will always be in front of us, expecting that there is no need to shift or evolve or change, and trusting that we don't need to trust because what is, is. And so when something occurs, whether it's enormous or whether it's small on the scale of losses and suffering, so whether it's a death or whether it's a temporary bump in the road, it still forces us out of our complacency. It still pushes us into a state of willingness to be present with whatever is. And it also asks us to trust and believe in the energies around us that help guide us through these moments of suffering. And so that was the message for today. Suffering and sorrow and grief are there to take us out of complacency. And most of us have experienced that. Some people never do. Some people remain complacent. And I suppose you could say that those people were gifted with a life of rest, the possibility of resting in this life and not needing to do that work that is required in those moments of suffering. But at the same time, we also have to imagine that the reason they needed that rest is because they just came from a pretty challenging incarnation where they had to do a lot of processing and learning and growing in those moments of grief and loss. So if you are suffering today, if you are grieving, if you are in deep sorrow, just remember that you're being taught to be present in your body. You're being pulled out of complacency so that you can expand and grow. And remember that you are loved.